Good
Okay,
afternoon.
we got everybody here.
We're ready to call the meeting order. It's 3:31. This is the A&D committee meeting for the Troy Community Land Bank. Just pull up your agenda, Tony.
Want me to pull it up?
Yep, I guess I have it. I have it now.
Okay.
Roll call. Jeanette Nicholson,
Here.
Albert Watson,
Here.
Shay is here with us. Catherine Hedgeman's here with us, and Tony Tazi.
Here.
Anyone else from the public on this call? No, looks like only 6. Okay. So we have 2 purchase applications before us, 54 Fifth Avenue and 11 Winnie Avenue. So Tony, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, let me get my cheat sheet out. So 54 Fifth Avenue, the application is from Elijah Folks. He's offering $169,000. The building was listed for $174,777. He would be an owner occupant. And he would market the rental unit to Section 8 people at YWCA, Equinox, and other community-based organizations. He has already undergone first-time home owner training and landlord training. And I think as a result of that, part of his financing includes a grant of $5,000 to $10,000 from
That was only
The
didn't
TUI
it say
Foundation.
only 1,000, Tony?
it.
But whatever.
I think the letter said between 5,000 and 10,000.
Oh, I thought I read 1,000, but nonetheless.
You know,
It's
that
okay.
might be another one, actually.
Oh,
The TUI grant is 5. On the
Yeah,
says on the application there.
is there another one for 1,000 or am I? Anyway,
there
neither
might
here
be,
nor there. He's a pretty strong candidate.
Let's see. You may be right. I thought he had another small grant, but in any case, his financing is coming from several places. A balance in a SEFCU account, which you can read on the application. Another balance from a Sunmark bank account. A pre-approval from Sunmark for $148,750. And that Restorative Housing Justice Fund grant, which is shown as 5,000, but I'm pretty sure it was between 5 and 10. So,
It could be up to 10.
well, yeah. Okay. Maybe that's how it reads.
He requested 10, looks like.
Oh, heck, I would too. So those are the basic facts. The credit check came back pretty strong. Albert, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it over.
Yeah, I just noticed that he has a lot of student loan obligations.
What page is that on, Albert?
Let's see.
That's actually off the credit report, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's off the credit report. I just noticed it. I mean, I don't know if he started repaying it yet, but it's pretty significant. But the money, is that all the cash on deposit? Is that money he saved?
That I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Because if so, I mean, that's good. That's good deposit amount. Yeah.
So it is up to 10.
I don't have any objections to it. The application.
I don't either.
Neither do I. Right.
Can I ask a question? Have we collected an application fee and a down payment?
Yes.
Okay,
Pretty sure. I know we've got the application fee, and I do believe we have the $3,000 down payment. Shay, is that
The-
your?
The copy of the check is there.
Okay.
Yeah. I
It's
saw
made out,
that,
it's
yeah,
made out to the land bank,
Yeah.
April 1st.
where is it? Because it's usually supposed to come to me for my escrow.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't have it. I know that.
It says received by C. Judakis.
So they, okay, that's the admin at the Clifton Park Howard Hanna office. So they must
Okay.
have sent it directly there,
And that's
which
April
they were told
5th.
not to do.
Yeah, so let's, okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine. They just really need to get that to us, and it needs to be, Sherry has the escrow language that needs to be made payable to. I can't take a check made payable to the land bank.
Right.
It's payable to Catherine Edgman Law Offices or something like that.
Yeah, that's still not right. There's a attorney escrow language that has to go on the check that Sherry has. But you know, people, sometimes they just don't listen to what we tell them to do.
Well, that's been
I mean,
the recurring theme.
I've literally thrown everything in the listing. I've told people about this, that
Yeah.
the list goes on of the things that both mom and I have done to try and get them to do it correctly. But you know, it's like beating a dead horse basically at this point.
Well, one of the things I notice it still goes on now, and I
Okay.
just wanted to mention to tighten up the process some more, is that other land banks, and I just picked up 2 more as clients. The procedure really is like, okay, we have 54 and 11 listed. We need to say the deadline for applications is X, right? And then those come in, and if there's multiple, usually the sales staff goes back and says, we need your best and final, right? Because they're kind of, you know, showing offers against each other. Then if those applications are complete and able to move forward to A and D, you know, then that's really where we're at. And it really should be done like in a perfect world. And I know we're rushing here, but 54 and 11, like, for example, you know, maybe the deadline would have been April 15th, right? So it gives Sherry and her team and you guys 2 weeks to analyze, you know, okay, what's complete, you know, Tony's got to do anything in between or whatever the case may be. And then it comes to you. Like even today, we've got offers coming in, and all that does is detract from, you know, what's on the table today. And some of them may or may not even be complete. So, you know, it's always within this committee and the board's prerogative to not sell to any of the applications that are even in front of you today. But there's got to be some sort of cutoff and a best and final process to make this a lot smoother. Because otherwise, you know, we're getting last minute, an hour before the meeting, here this is coming in, and, you know, we've already got the agenda set. So those would just be my recommendations to tighten this up a little bit.
I used to
Okay.
informally tell people, get me your stuff the Thursday before the scheduled A&D meeting. And pretty much have gotten away from that because of our financial situation. So, you know, can re-implement that.
Yeah, I certainly think that's a good idea. This business of last minute offers, for me, it just muddies the waters.
Yeah, I agree.
It's,
Plus
seems-
it's, oh, I'm sorry, Janine.
well, no, I was just, as I said earlier, it just seems sort of unfair to the fellow who, really has a strong application and that we would even consider someone else at this point in time. Anyway, I just would reiterate that I certainly would support a deadline that we can stick to so that this does not happen.
Well, not only that, the decisions could be challenged if you're gonna consider an application where it's not complete versus, like you said, Jeanette, somebody's is complete and was on the
Right.
agenda and it wasn't noticed properly either. So, I'm just really trying to tighten up on all these things that we should be doing because of the level of scrutiny on the land bank right now is very high, so.
Yeah, the
Well-
email I sent around saying we had the new application wasn't intended for the committee to review it. It was just to let you know that one came in, that was all. And that was stated in my email. The check was made out, Kate, to Troy Community Land Bank, so it's definitely in error.
Okay, as long as it gets fixed, that's fine, if we move forward with him, but it sounds like we are, so.
Yeah, do I have a motion to recommend this
I just got a question.
application to the board?
I got a question. What's the story with the property? Are we, like, do we have to put money into it or?
54?
Yeah,
No, I don't.
It's fully renovated and all our sales are as is.
I'm saying, was there a construction project on this property? I guess is
Oh.
what I'm asking.
Yes, this has a, mortgage on it. I think this one is, I think, 80,000. Could be wrong, forgetting my numbers.
Plus, do we owe seat money, Tony, I think? Or is-
Yes,
am I
we-
thinking of something?
Yes, we do, which would be coming out of ARPA.
So I guess how much will we net out with the 169?
The outstanding invoice from SEAT, which will be paid with ARPA funds, I do believe, it basically should be the purchase price minus the balance of the mortgage, which again, I remember what the balance of the mortgage is. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, Albert. I think it's 80,000. I could go look for it though.
I guess my point is with the reduction in what he's offering, are we gonna make money? I guess that's what I'm asking.
I'd have to do the math. I mean, I'd literally have to sit down and calculate all the costs out, which I can do.
We're
But
not gonna lose money though, correct, Tony? I mean, if, assuming the mortgage is $80,000.
yeah, so the only bill that we have to pay, other than, closing costs, which I guess the applicant's supposed to pay, would be the outstanding invoice to SEAT, which I believe is for $14,500, something like that. And that invoice, I do believe, is going to be paid with ARPA funds. So
We
What's-
should net another 70, 80,000 potentially.
I believe
Well,
so, yeah.
no. Well,
No?
Seat didn't do all the work for $14,000, right,
Nope.
Tony? I mean, there's other expenses that are lodged against the property. Technically, if you did a property budget, it would, they would be so I don't know what the total is of expenses.
And that's what I'm saying. So Most of the money that went in, most or if not all the money that went into this came from enterprise grant funds.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's no outstanding
Just
debt
just that
on-
14,500, which again, ARPA,
Yeah.
I believe is going to cover.
And even if ARPA didn't, we would be able to pay seat, correct?
Well,
From the
yeah.
proceeds,
Yeah,
so doesn't seem to be an issue for me.
Albert, was your question, do we make money on the entire process? Or are we gonna net some funds from this transaction?
That's my question. Are we gonna net funds from this transaction? Yeah,
The answer is yes, right, Tony?
Definitely is, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be a long way from losing money.
Okay, that's all I'm asking, yeah.
Do I have a motion to recommend this application to the board?
I'll make a motion to recommend the sale to the board.
A
Second? All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
What's next? 50, 11
Yeah.
Winnie.
Sorry, I was just catching up on my note sheet. Yeah, let me pull that one up. Where are you? Okay, this is Marie Francillin, probably butchering her name, so I apologize for that. Right now she lives in Rhode Island. Apparently her employment with CVS. She's basically a remote employee, so her place of residence doesn't really matter. She is offering $150,000. The list price is $159,777. She would be an owner occupant.
And we reviewed this application prior as part, and we asked for more information. And this is the completed application, correct?
I don't believe this one was reviewed before. I don't think I would have sent it to you if it wasn't complete.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it before.
There was a woman who was interested to purchase 54 Fifth Avenue, who walked away, who,
Was also a veteran?
yes,
Okay, I'm confusing it with that. then.
yeah,
Okay.
the other person was a Navy vet,
Okay,
and this person is part-time US Army.
gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's easy to confuse with two veterans. So her management plan is she has family living in the area, and when she is, out of the area because of her Army duties, she would be depending on family members to take care of anything that would pop up with the property. Otherwise, she plans on self-managing the property. Let's see here. And this might also be another reason why you might have been confused. Some of her funding is coming from the Navy Federal Credit Union, just over $3K. She has pre-approval for a loan of $220,000. And her closing costs, she has noted that her closing costs are going to be paid as a gift from her parents.
Tony, do we have any idea how much time she would be out of town? In a year? 'Cause that really concerns me that she's gonna be not present as the owner and relying on, family members who don't necessarily live in Troy. It just seems like, I don't know, she's a first-time home buyer. This it doesn't present a strong case to me that this is a good bet, but
if she's going to be out of town, she's required by our policy to have a property manager, and it can't be a family member.
yeah,
Do we say it can't be a family member?
Well, that's the way it's always been. Yes, the other land banks, that's the way we do it.
Yeah, and I'm just asking if our policy specifically states that. Because if it does, then I should be telling people that.
Well, the reality is people say they have family because they don't want to pay for a property management. You know, that's how they get around it. But that's what we mean when we say you must have a property manager.
Oh, I know what it means.
Well, she says she's gonna use a third-party property manager as a backup, just in case she's out of town for military training or whatever.
For application.
But that's assuming, I guess, family and friends don't work out. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't seem,
You can approve it requiring her to have a designated third-party property manager as part of the contract in the sale.
Yeah. I mean, she's listing it, this is gonna be her primary residence. I mean, if she gets deployed for a few months every so often.
It's usually like a 1 weekend a month or something, and then 2 weeks during the year for training.
Yeah, she doesn't say months. She says weeks, like a couple of weeks at most.
Yeah,
Right.
Actually,
Literally, I just Googled it and it says Army Reserve soldiers return to their civilian lives, spend 1 weekend per month and 2 weeks per year training to keep their skills sharp.
right. Yeah, that's,
So on
Unless you-
average, that'll be the amount that she's gone, unless,
unless she's
something goes
deployed.
crazy. Yeah.
And even if deployed, you're talking maybe 4 to
Oh,
6 months.
that's what she's saying, if I have the right sheet up. So Albert caught that and I didn't. She is planning on using a third-party property management. She doesn't say who it is, which the application does require that. And she goes on to say that she also has 2 close relatives who live in Troy, over the area, to monitor the property while she's away.
the other issue for me is, as a first-time home buyer, what does she know about getting tenants and maintaining, screening tenants, et cetera, et cetera? Can
can
we
require her to
require
have the-
landlord training or something? I just,
Yeah,
We did
I
that
would
before.
feel,
yeah, we've done that in the past.
Yeah. When the recommendation for the board to approve 54 Fifth Avenue was made to that other veteran, the recommendation had a condition
oh,
that.
right, yes,
that
oh, I
within
remember
6
now.
Yeah, that within
That's
6
right.
months, they get both first-time homeowner training and tenant or landlord training within 6 months of when she acquires the property. But that was the condition on that previous approval.
I'm okay doing that. I mean, I think that's good for anybody to do. It's just,
Right,
I would
That's all-
prefer to
it's-
have her do it before closing because I can't really enforce it afterwards. And if you're okay with that, that's fine, but I can't enforce it. I mean, what are we
That's-
gonna do? Take the property back?
So if it takes 6 months for her to go through training,
can't you do it online through Trip?
Yeah, I think you
Um,
could.
I don't know if it's that long.
It's not.
No,
yeah,
it
it's not
isn't.
that
I
long.
mean, it used to be like 2 4-hour sessions or something like that over the course of a couple nights.
How about you have to make sure you're enrolled? Homeowner.
Yeah, whatever you want, as long as you know, there's no way for me to enforce it if she doesn't after you close. That's all.
Well, I think we should say, go along with Kate. I mean, the
Yeah,
whole
I think you
idea
should.
is to,
To provide us with a certificate of completion, yeah,
for sure, and it's only to her benefit.
right, yeah.
and Kate, why can't that be enforced? Because we have conditions on sales that we always
Well,
seem to be able to
it-
enforce.
It can, but do you really want to take a property back? We can't. There'd be a mortgage on it. The bank is gonna get it first. Like, it's, once there's a mortgage, and I know this is new to this land bank, once you have a bank involved, pretty much, there's really no way we're taking the property back for anything. We're in a second position. And, you know, if there was to be a foreclosure per se, I suppose it could trip the bank to not be happy that they haven't met our conditions, but we really couldn't take it back. So that's why, because there'll be a mortgage.
Yeah, that makes
They're the owner.
I'm on the trip site. I'm trying to see how long the courses are, but the registration button's not working. So
So I got a question, Tony. Is that all the money she has?
That's all she's showing she has.
That's not a lot of money for. And for parent, whoever, you said the parents are covering the closing costs?
Yes. That's what's noted on the project budget form.
And what about the down payment?
That was a question I actually asked, and let me see. Where's her review thing?
that check's been written for 3,000. March 13th.
Where are these checks going?
Not to me. Well, except for the
Not to
application.
Kada.
Yeah. I did send an email on Sunday to her, basically saying, I'm not a voting member of the committee, and I don't know exactly what the committee's going to be thinking, but here are some questions that I wouldn't be surprised that they would ask, which is, show us something from your parents that actually commits them to the providing the closing costs, and something that backs up that they have the resources to do that. And I did say that the numbers on the project budget form look like they could use a little bit more clarity. And that's kind of what Albert is saying. What's the down payment?
Well, you can require really anything that you want as a board. Normally, though, I would just say, in my experience, this is all left to the bank. If they get a mortgage and the bank is good, we're good. Like, the inquiry usually doesn't go beyond that for the land bank, like making sure somebody's got enough in savings, or that their parents are going to put down a down payment. It's not that you can't, but I just, you're doing a lot more work than I've seen done in other land banks.
Well,
So
it's
I'll
just, you got people on the board that have background in this, and it's just, that's a normal question for somebody with my background. I mean, why give somebody a house they can't afford? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, if they can get a mortgage and they can buy it, that's usually the end of
Well, they
it.
got nothing to fall
Yeah.
back on, so it's just like something happens in her life and she loses the house. I mean,
I agree. I
got
know
no
what you're
liquidity.
saying. I know what you're saying, but I don't know these days who does, but.
Well,
these checks were written by somebody else too.
That's right.
What's the relationship? Do we know?
I don't know. I just, even the $60 background check fee was written by somebody else.
Unless one is a married name and one is a maiden name, because they're both Marie.
For her license, you look at her license, It's not the same signature.
I've got so many emails in here about all these, trying to find the one with the
Yeah.
license.
It took me a while to sort out, not just this application, but all of them. So everything's coming in bits and pieces. Where is she? Let's see.
I just like to know if she could, if she has anything else to fall back on. That's all I'm saying.
Well, doesn't look like it. We'd see it if it would only help her to show it.
She's got somebody else paying the closing costs and just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like where Kate is. I mean, if the bank is giving her a thumbs up, I'm not sure I'm gonna second guess that, but you know, at 150,000, is that what the offer is? Plus a down payment. It's gotta
Yeah.
be cheap. It's gotta be cheaper than renting. Almost, maybe.
Especially if she's gonna rent out the other half of the house. So,
Yeah.
you know, just pay the difference in her.
You know,
Yeah.
which is why I brought up the landlord training thing. There, you know, it's just a concern because,
Well, I think that's something we definitely should do, is just require the landlord training and home ownership training.
As a matter of policy. Or
Well,
just-
just for this transaction, I would
Okay,
totally
I
do
For
that.
just
sure.
just wanted to be clear what I was hearing.
I wouldn't feel comfortable approving or recommending this to the board without that stipulation. So it just doesn't make sense to me to throw somebody to the lions and tigers.
And I'd be okay if she's enrolled and attending prior to closing, but maybe not completed. Just providing proof of enrollment and you know, the first attendance. But I don't know what Tripp's schedule is for that kind of stuff.
Well, I think,
I know Habitat used to do it as well, but they think they do it for their own candidates.
I don't know what Tripp's schedule is either, but if you can do it online, that shouldn't matter.
Oh, that's true too.
And well, I mean, I guess I'd feel more comfortable if she completed it. But we don't know for sure that that's a possibility. I guess for one thing, I'll volunteer to get in touch with Tripp to find out if indeed you can take the online course anytime and complete it anytime. For sure after today's meeting, but
There are also others out there. Home Quarters has
okay.
the same kind of training. There are
Do
other.
they offer it online too, Tony? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Actually, we had a
Oh,
conversation
great.
about that.
Okay,
With
so
the
it doesn't,
pandemic.
I don't care if it's Tripp or not, it just has to be some
Acceptable.
acceptable landlord training that somebody who's never been a landlord before completes.
Yeah. Landlord and homeowner training. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with Albert's concerns. I mean, you don't want to set people up for failure.
I
You want- you
totally
want-
agree with that.
You want them to succeed. You know, at least you can learn that, hey, I need to be setting aside money every single paycheck towards the unknown for the house, but she's got a kind of a head start with having a, you know, substantially renovated property. So,
Well, I think to Albert's point, and this is a larger discussion, probably, but Tony only collects what the application asks him to collect, right? So a lot of times the committee will ask for more information. You may want to say like, yes, we want in the application, we want to know all sources of proceeds, or, you know, we can change that up, because otherwise, even if you really do want to see that, you won't get it, and Tony will have to go back, and that's a pain too. You know what I mean? And I think we should tighten it up if we're gonna require all rentals to have landlord training. We should put that in there and make it clear, or at least say we may, depending upon the circumstances,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's
Yeah.
reasonable. If first time landlord, you go through landlord training, first time home buyer, you go through, home buyer training, homeowner training, rather.
I have informally been telling folks, even though the application doesn't outright require it, I expect that the committee is going to want to see your most recently filed tax return. So I've been dealing with it that way. So, but maybe it's time to make formal changes to the application if there's going to be, several to be made, which all sound really easy to do.
Yeah, because in the end, you want it to be good for the community as well, right? You want people to succeed and own the house, and you want
Education is going to help everybody.
and you want the neighborhood to do well. So
Right.
Well, I just get a little concerned, and I totally understand where Albert's coming from, but it almost borderline based on a credit decision that we shouldn't be making. Like, there's a lot of liability there. So, I mean, if it's in the general sense, that we've reviewed the credit check, they've got a pre-approval and all that. But I think once you get into the details of a particular person's credit report and or, personal cash flow situation, that might be getting into murky waters. But, like I said, it's not that you can't, but we really have to look at that.
How does that make us liable? It's just a question on what she's got to fall back on. I mean, this is a big purchase.
I'm just saying it could be construed as a credit decision, and that's really not what we want to be in that position.
Well, then why have people on the board that have financial analysis background then? That's a normal question for somebody like that.
Yeah, in this particular case, we're selling finished buildings with bank mortgages. I don't disagree with you if you've got somebody who's going to do a full.
I guess my whole thing is what if this property is foreclosed on 3 years down the road?
Yeah.
I mean, going in, we saw that she didn't have enough liquidity for a rainy day if something happened to the house. That's my whole thing, I just, she's got nothing going into this deal. If she lost this house, she's got nothing to lose. Somebody else gave her the down payment. Somebody paid the fees, the land bank fees. Somebody's paying the closing costs. She could walk away from this and not lose anything.
yeah, that's a good point.
Well, you certainly could table it and see what other offers come in. You can, I don't know. I don't know what your sense is, whether you want to not approve it or.
Well, as is, I don't really feel that this is a strong candidate for this property. I'd be willing to table it, I guess.
I mean, maybe it's just a conversation to have with her. Maybe she saved more money since this application's been put in. I don't know, but maybe it's just a conversation to have with her.
Yeah. Well, it's a risk. I mean, you're going to have a 2-family home. You're pretty much operating a small business.
I mean, she kind of is taking a risk too here with using her VA funding. You only get that once in your lifetime. So if she was to default on this 3 years from now, as the example was, she would never get the VA funding again.
Having the rental income goes a long way
Right.
for just kind of general maintenance, positive cash flow, setting money aside.
Unless the tenant costs
Paying
you
your
more money.
taxes.
So is this gonna be a VA FHA? Is that the,
It's a VA, just a general VA from what I could see.
okay. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have pretty stringent criteria
Right.
as well for that type of mortgage.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not adverse to the risk. I mean,
And I'm just, I'm concerned on my end because like the other application that we had, they have since moved on to another property. So I don't want to see this happen and then we're out all of our offers.
Yeah.
So personally, just from, the real estate aspect side, I do like the idea that Albert said, maybe somebody reach out and have a conversation with her and also, require the trainings. But like I said, I'm just scared of them saying, you know what, it's been long enough. We're going to find something else.
Which is actually what I was getting back from her over the weekend.
what's that, Tony?
She was
Just getting
very
impatient.
frustrated. Yeah, very frustrated and pretty much point blank said, and I don't think this was a threat. I think it was just the result of her frustration. Pretty much said, I have to make a decision on this property because I can't wait forever.
Well,
More or less
good
what she
luck
said.
finding something else.
We've had 2 other applicants that did.
No,
I mean,
crapshoot.
hearing all the concerns, I agree, they are concerns, but I mean, part of what we're doing here is trying to give folks a chance at something. And I think with the rental income, I'm not as worried about it. But you could have a bad renter, you could have someone just, you gotta evict. I mean, that can get messy too, but
Yeah, what if she loses a tenant?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What if she gets a bad tenant? Worse.
I guess I'm more detached. You guys are worrying like they're your parents.
I mean, that could happen to anybody though. Anybody that owns a 2-family house, the tenant's gonna come, they're gonna go. So there's gonna be a vacancy at some point. That's gonna happen with every applicant, not just this one.
This is the property where they kept stealing the equipment out of, right?
Right.
Yep. Yeah,
So
there's nothing left to steal.
now we
But
have an
they did break-
occupant with some locks on the doors.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
When did she
Right.
start
Who
the,
works from home as well. So she's going to be there at least
Works from
40 hours a week.
you said she's
Yeah.
frustrated. When did she start the application process?
A month ago, or
Yeah.
a little bit over.
Yeah, I mean, part of this got bogged down because we were so involved with the ARPA stuff. I was so involved with the ARPA stuff. Kate was much more involved. But Kate's stuff didn't hold this up. I got hit with norovirus, which gave me about 2.5 brain cells to rub together for more than a week. So that definitely slowed me down. So that's why I pulled these up on the weekend. So I think she does have cause to be frustrated.
Well, I'm pretty good with the trainings. I'll go along with it.
Okay.
I do recommend the trainings though.
Right. I mean, I'm willing to make a motion to recommend the transaction to the board with the caveat of homeowner and landlord training enrolled and attending prior to closing.
Oh,
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
All right.
And Albert, I can get that right. guys, I'm just trying to keep track of the record here.
I think that's it on our agenda, right? Do we Have a motion
Yeah.
to adjourn. Are we-
Okay.
Anything else we need to discuss? It'd be on
I
the
was just gonna
agenda,
say
I
unless
guess.
you guys want to.
Okay. Motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second.
second,
All righty,
in favor?
thanks.
Aye.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
night, everybody, yep.
Tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks, Shay.
everybody.
Thanks, Catherine.